Good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for joining us for the WWL Louisiana News at 4. I'm Katie Moore. The remnants of Tropical Storm Arthur hit southeast Louisiana hard this morning with torrential rains and at least 3 tornadoes sweeping through the area. So far, we've learned that 2 people have been hurt. And in addition to the damage, we also saw street flooding in many parishes. We do have multiple crews out and about right now, and we will be checking in with them throughout the show. But first, we want to get over to meteorologist Alexa Trishler for how this all played out and what we're currently looking at and dealing with. Alexa?
Yeah, we had a crazy morning. We had widespread wind damage, likely tornado damage across the area, and extreme rainfall and serious flooding. At this point, most of the rain has wrapped up. There are a few showers on the South Shore. The North Shore in South Mississippi is dry. However, we are going to see our rivers and creeks rising across South Mississippi. So that is going to be a big concern, especially for the East and West Hoblachita Creek. But we are dry across the North Shore in South Mississippi now. South Shore, we have some spotty rain and a few thunderstorms, some spotty showers moving through, just passing through north of Chalmette right now. But most of the rain is on the West Bank. So we have a few showers and storms that are on the West Bank heading into Jefferson Parish from St. Charles Parish, a little bit of rain towards Des Allemands. Over the last 24 hours, we have seen that bullseye of near 10 to 15 inches of rain over the last 24 hours set up over South Mississippi and into parts of St. Tammany Parish, including Picayune, including Slidell. That's where some of our highest rainfall totals were. But we even saw anywhere from 4 to 8 inches for the river parishes down the bayou and for parts of the metro area in Jefferson Orleans Parish. So we saw incredible amounts of rain today and extreme flooding, especially across South Mississippi into St. Tammany Parish. The National Weather Service so far has surveyed just a few of the storms. This is preliminary data. 3 EF1 tornadoes happened today, 1 in Houma, 1 in Avondale, and 1 from Bridge City that went to LSUNO. All EF1 tornadoes with 90 plus mile per hour winds. Again, this is preliminary data, so there will be updates to this, and they're going to continue to survey the rest of the storms that happen across St. Tammany Parish as well into South Mississippi. So this is just the beginning. We're going to have many more updates to what happened with these tornadoes and more tornadoes that likely touched down today because we saw extensive damage across the area and extensive flooding.
Much more to come. Thanks so much, Alexa. Again, assessments of that damage left behind are being made all across the area, and we'll have crews joining us from multiple parishes out there, including Sharice Gibson. She is live in Avondale right now. So, Sharice, how's it looking out there? Lots of damage, huh?
Yeah, you can see the significant damage that is behind me. A trailer that was destroyed. But honestly, even though we're talking about post-tropical storm Arthur, we are still feeling the rain bands and the winds because of this. I've just had to run to my car to grab an umbrella because the winds are certainly starting to pick up, and it's probably not the best time to be outside without a raincoat. But unfortunately, that's what we're dealing with when you're dealing with the storm coverage. So earlier this morning, my colleague Mike McDaniel spoke to residents who live in this neighborhood in Avondale who said they went through a traumatic situation when that storm touched down in the Avondale community. Take a look behind me right now. That is where that traumatic situation we're talking about. Several trailers that were damaged by the storm that touched down, that EF1 tornado that touched down in the area. It may have only touched down for a few seconds, but the damage that they experience here will take a very long time to clear up. Take a listen to what one of those residents had to say as he was inside of this destroyed trailer when it started to tumble around.
This morning, got up, had a half a sandwich, around about 1 o'clock, went laid back down, doors off. I seen the power lines went to sparkling, the transformers. The lights came back on, then they went out again. Then I heard whoo, and then I was all over the place inside the trailer.
Was the trailer rolling? Is that what was happening?
I don't know if it was on the, I doubt if it was on the ground. It was rolling in the air, I believe. It was lifted up and thrown over.
What was going through your mind at that point, Mr. Sims? I know it had to be a lot.
I was just trying to figure out where to put my hands down or where to get my feet down where I could stand up. It took me a while to get my bearings, but once I got up, I was able to back out that little bitty place where you see that mattress. That's the place where I backed out from. I was up against the next house over here.
And yeah, the winds are definitely still going. We have actually Jeff Hackett trying to hold our camera equipment down because we just had a very strong gust of wind that came in. So the man that he spoke to that was in that trailer behind me, if you can believe it, he said that he's only hurting and maybe a little bruised, but he feels extremely lucky to make it out of there alive and to be able to walk there. And so lucky, in fact, Katie, he told our reporters earlier that he feels like he could play the lottery and most likely win. Fortunately, this wasn't a situation where there's not a death. We do know that the next trailer that the man was inside of apparently had a woman inside of it, and she was pinned, and that woman is hospitalized. Fortunately, they believe that she's going to be okay, but we're going to check back in with that in a second. So far, more than 2,000 power outages in the Avondale area. And again, while we're talking about post-tropical storm Arthur, the strong wind gusts and the rain that we experienced on the way to this area was significant. So people please still stay alert. And of course, we'll check back in with you in a second, hopefully, so that we can talk to some of the residents who are in the area that are dealing with recovery. There was much more damage behind the trailer that you see behind me. But Katie, truly is a sight to see. And you can imagine how terrifying this had to be for the community member that lived inside of that trailer as it was tossing and turning around and essentially destroying itself.
It's unreal. It's almost miraculous that no one was more seriously hurt in that situation. We'll check back in with you, just as you mentioned, in just a little bit. Thank you so much, Charisse. And here in New Orleans, many residents still assessing the damage, including in City Park, where trees and power lines were knocked down along Wisner Boulevard. Work is underway to clear those right now. And Paul Murphy's been there since early this morning, and he was at the scene just after the storm hit. So, Paul, you're in Lake Terrace now. That was one of the hardest hit neighborhoods. How's it looking right now?
Well, I'll tell you, people really got after it, though, and did get a lot of that debris out of their yards, clearing trees out of their yards and stacking them up here on the green space. But people here in Lake Terrace tell us that they heard what sounded like a tornado passing through their neighborhood sometime right before 6 o'clock this morning. And as you can see, as we're panning through here, it left quite a bit of damage and debris in its wake. According to the National Weather Service, the suspected tornado may have dropped down just across the parish line near Metairie Road in Jefferson Parish and quickly tore through parts of New Orleans. City officials say it was likely responsible for damaging trees, power lines, and homes in the Navarre neighborhood, and then may have hopped over to Marconi Meadows in City Park, where it knocked down a large oak and damaged some tennis courts. The suspected tornado then crossed over the park and knocked down trees and power lines on Wisner Boulevard. It may have also caused quite a bit of damage, as we said, here in the Oak Park and Lake Terrace communities.
Oh, it was a lot of noise, a lot of wind. It was really scary. It sounded like a train going through. And we have a raised house, so when we sheltered in the bathroom, the room with no windows, we felt the house move. It was pretty scary.
We had damage to the house, and subsequently lost a portion of the roof, along with a palm tree that broke and snapped in half.
And here in Lake Terrace, we're back live. The high winds also damaged a number of vehicles parked here along St. Bernard Avenue because there is a lot of road construction happening right now on their blocks. Now, coming up new at 6, there are unfortunately some more pumps and power problems for the New Orleans Sewage and Water Board. Again, coming up new at 5. We're live in Lake Terrace. Paul Murphy, WWL, Louisiana.
All right, some important stuff to talk about there as well. Thanks so much, Paul. These storms, they really did make driving difficult this morning. This is what it looked like on the twin spans around 7 this morning. You can see, or not, it was almost impossible to see on the road. It was making for a very dangerous situation there. The storm continued across St. Tammany Parish, where it caused flooding problems for people in their homes, as well as those treacherous driving conditions. And Meg Ferris has been giving us a look at the damage in St. Tammany since early this morning. Meg, what have you seen as you've been out and about today?
tornado come through here. I know it's not official yet, but let me just show you finally, it's not storming rain and people are able to get out in their yards and start cleaning up. And you can see a lot of the debris that is here, siding and playground type furniture for people who have children, all their backyards, their fences are down and all that type of thing. But I want you to take a look at some of the video that we shot earlier today. A lot of people around this Eden Isles area, again, it's classic tornado type damage. You have some homes untouched, you have other ones where there is damage. And what's so interesting is you could have this little jungle gym that is in pieces, and right next to it a little seesaw, child seesaw that's untouched. So sometimes it feels like there's no rhyme or reason to how the damage is in these types of areas. But already we have seen contractors come through. We have seen parish officials cutting down limbs and trees, people who work for the parish. So already the cleanup is going, and people would come in between the rain bands, clean up, go back in when the rain came, but now it looks good. Take a listen to what some of the residents here had to say earlier about what they heard when this possible tornado passed through.
I was looking out the window and I seen the rain was going like sideways, and it like almost looked like somebody paused it, and it like stopped and then went the other direction, and I just turned around and grabbed them and put them in the closet, and then just everything kind of went downhill after that.
It was just a very, very loud whistling sound. It started shaking the windows and stuff, and immediately I was like, absolutely not. We're going somewhere else.
And all of a sudden, my ears started popping, and I said, oh, they're dropping pressure. I said, there's a tornado outside. And then I started hearing, and I said, is that roof tiles flying off? And he said, I don't know, I think that stuff hitting the house. And so, you could hear it like hitting the house, and the backyard is, our backyard, as you can see, is pretty damaged.
And so far, everyone is accounted for. There have not been injuries. And coming up at 5, we're going to take you behind some of the houses where there's roof damage and where people have their boats and their shrimp boats. It's their livelihood, and show you the damage that went on along the water behind these houses in Eden Isles. Reporting live from Eden Isles, Meg Farris, WWL, Louisiana. Katie?
It is just, again, miraculous that no one was hurt in all of these situations that we've been talking about, at least not seriously. I appreciate those reports. Thanks so much, Meg. St. Charles Parish officials say they were spared from tornado damage, but flooding was reported on the east and west banks. And while most of the water has now receded from the roadways, you're looking at what it looked like earlier today. That water did unfortunately get into some homes. And Lily Cummings joining us live now from Luling. Lily, you've been out there most of the day, and you talked to several people who had some damage and maybe some water in their homes.
Yeah, Katie, unfortunately, folks out here have been spending the majority of the day cleaning up their homes, mopping the inside, setting out furniture and personal items to the curb. But if you take a look, as you said, this street now looking clear, a much different picture than what we brought you around noon today when the entire street was flooded. Take a look at the video from earlier today, around 11 this morning. This is Luling Estates Drive near Hackberry Street. The water took hours to go down. Now, the neighbors tell me that the road does slope down, something that kind of led to deeper water on this street. And you couple that with it being trash day, and you had quite a mess here, even some cars taking on water, and some residents were questioning if pumps were even working properly. I asked parish officials if there were any issues with pumps or drainage. I was told the area simply got overwhelmed by rain in a short period of time.
Even when it was the other hurricane, I think
Francine, maybe?
Yeah, Francine, it wasn't this bad. It did go in the other room, but not in the living room. And we were more prepared, but for this, we didn't expect it to flood crazy like this.
Yeah, so that was one of those residents living on this street that I spoke with that unfortunately took on water, not only in the home, but also her car. And so the Emergency Operations Center here in St. Charles Parish is asking folks that if your home did take on water, to report that directly to them. Reporting live in St. Charles Parish, Lily Cummings, WWL Louisiana.
Okay, thank you so much, Lily. We do have some breaking news for you now. Residents are being urged to evacuate after a dam failure in Mississippi. This alert just went out for those near the Anchor Lake Dam. That's in Pearl River County, Mississippi. That's on the East Hobelichitto Creek. The National Weather Service is warning there could be life-threatening flooding. Emergency officials reported the compromised dam just before 3 this afternoon. Those living along McNeil Steep Hollow Road south to West Union Road between I-59 and Caesar Road are encouraged to move to higher ground immediately. And we are monitoring this situation over there in Mississippi very closely.